Hey YouTube, welcome back to Veggie's Daily Fantasy Corner. We're done with the regular season. We're on to the playoffs. Wild card weekend. I got my wild glasses on. Let's get into these picks, man. Me and the guys took a week off. We took week 18 off. Me and Hero Spell Studios decided to take a well-deserved week off because we hit 1,000 views in total over all of our videos. Thanks to you guys. Thank you so much. That means so much. You have no idea how much it means to us. 1,000 views. So we decided to take a week off, man, for one of two reasons. One being the 1,000 view mark, and two being that the games weren't very good week 18 because there's a lot of teams that weren't playing for nothing, and there's a lot of teams that were playing for it all against teams that weren't playing for nothing. So I decided not to submit a lineup for week 18 because the players were too hard to predict. I didn't know who was going to start. I didn't know who was going to come in late. Week 18 is just a cluster that I didn't even want to get into. So we decided to take a week off respectfully, as well as celebrate our 1,000 view mark. Without further ado, let's get into this week's picks, the wild card weekend. The playoffs are here, baby. Let's go. Quarterback position, Jalen Hurts. I love this pick, not only because Jalen Hurts is a scrambling quarterback, but also because he's valued at 6,100 DK bucks. Very cheap. Josh Allen is valued at 7,800 bucks. Mahomes 7,400. You got Kyler Murray at 7,200, and Dak Prescott. Wow, Dak Prescott's actually at 6,400. So I could technically squeeze him in there, but I think I like Jalen Hurts just a little bit more for this slate of games this week. So I'm going to put Jalen Hurts in at my quarterback position. Two running back positions. Cam Akers. Cam Akers is one of my only two real stretches for this wildcard weekend push that I'm making. I'm really confident in this lineup. A lot of these players seem like Mr. Automatics to me, and they have been all season. I anticipate that to continue throughout this season. Two of those guys, however, are not Mr. Automatics. That's going to be Cam Akers and Brandon Ayuk. I'm going to get into that later. However, starting off with Cam Akers, he came off IR last week, had a couple carries. However, he's my dark horse this week to be the LA Rams starting running back and getting all the totes against the Arizona Cardinals. That's a home game too, so you know the fans are going to want to see that second-year running back in there. Hopefully their running back of the future run up the score for him. My second running back is going to be Chase Edmonds. I don't like Chase Edmonds simply because I don't know the status of James Conner. James Conner went off last week for 27 points. However, he was forced out of the game. Chase Edmonds right now is questionable, so we'll have to monitor that this week and see if he's good to go. If he is, I'm all in on Chase Edmonds being that guy to tote the rock for Arizona, facing their rival, the LA Rams. My three wide receiver positions, Cooper Kupp, no explanation, Mr. Automatic, boom. Next up, Hunter Renfro, also pretty much been Mr. Automatic all season. They're playing the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to have to put up a lot of points, and Derek Carr loves Hunter Renfro. I can't emphasize how much I love this pick. Even though I love Deebo Samuel too, I think I like Hunter Renfro a little bit more just for the price point that Hunter Renfro's at, that I can squeeze him in there. My third wide receiver and my second of my two dark horses is Brandon Ayuk. I did a little research about the Dallas Cowboys secondary. Who's their secondary? Trayvon Diggs, one of the best corners in the league, right? Sort of. He's a ball hawk. He also lets up the most receiving yards the whole season. He's led up the most receiving yards through 18 weeks amongst all cornerbacks, which means wide receivers are going to get fantasy points. We can't fit Deebo Samuel into our lineup. However, we can fit Brandon Ayuk into our lineup. That's why I'm going with him this week against a team that is vulnerable to letting up a lot of fantasy points against wide receivers. My tight end slot, Dallas Goedert. I tried my hardest to fit Travis Kelce in there. The only stingy part about my lineup is that I have no Chiefs. I have no Chiefs in my lineup, which is, kind of making me a little bit nervous, upsetting my stomach a little bit. No worries. We have a lot of Mr. Automatics in here this week, so I believe we're covered on the points. However, I tried to fit Travis Kelce in there. He costs too much for the guys I don't want to put in there. So instead, we're going to roll with Dallas Goedert. So that's going to be a Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert stack. We're going to have Jalen Hurts either running the ball into the end zone, or we're going to have Jalen Hurts throwing the ball to Dallas Goedert for a lot of receptions and maybe a touchdown or two, hopefully. At least one for sure. My flex spot, we're going to go with Deontay Johnson. I love the Deontay Johnson pick because even though he hasn't really been very consistent throughout the season, he does manage to put up a lot of fantasy points in about 3/4 of the weeks that he plays. And they play the Chiefs, man. They got to put up points somehow. Who are they going to throw to? Big Ben in a big spot. And probably his final game ever, unless they pull off a miracle win, which I would be very excited to see. Hopefully that's all by the lights of Deontay Johnson, because he's a great player, good shutdown player. You know the Chiefs are going to be coming after Big Ben. They don't care if it's his last game. All they care about is winning. However, Big Ben also feels that way, and he's going to have to get that ball out quick. I think he's going to get that ball quick to Deontay Johnson for a lot of receptions. Deontay might have 13 receptions this game. They're going to have to score a lot of points, and Deontay is going to have a lot to do with that. Lastly, we have my defense special teams. Really this week, you can pick any defense special teams you want. I believe all the matchups are going to have a ton of points. There's really only two that stood out to me as star-studded ones to pick. I do like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense versus Philadelphia. And I also like Kansas City versus Pittsburgh, but I'm not going to go with either of those. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Las Vegas Raiders, because I believe Cincinnati, with this home game, they've never been to the playoffs in a long time. They're starving, and their fan base is starving. They're going to be loud. And they got a good defensive end on that edge, Troy Hendrickson. He's going to have at least 3 sacks this game. I think a lot of the points coming from Cincinnati are going to be built off sacks, and sacks can maybe equate to not only interceptions, but they can also equate to strip sacks, which can cause fumble recoveries for the defense. So we're going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals defense and what I think is going to be a very tight game between the Vegas Raiders and the Cincinnati Bengals. I cannot wait to watch that game on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a lot of my buddies downtown. It's going to be a fun atmosphere to watch that game in. So we'll run through my lineup again. Jalen Hurts, Chase Edmonds, Cam Akers. My 3 wide receivers, Cooper Kupp, Hunter Renfro, Brandon Ayuk. Tight end, Dallas Goedert. Flex spot, Deontay Johnson from Pittsburgh, and the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Half you guys are not subscribed to the channel. I know that because I study the analytics, and I look at them on the YouTube analytics. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you take a moment after the video, subscribe to the channel. We're slowly approaching 1,000 subscribers, and like I said at the beginning of the video, we've already passed that 1,000 view mark, and we're going to just keep pushing the milestones, man. I'm going to go with you guys. Me and Hero Spell Studios are going to keep pushing the pile and keep moving the sticks with you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it for showing all the love, guys. We'll see you next week in the divisional round games. I'm out. Let's win those games this week in the wild card.